and put it in writing for these people of this town to tell us exactly what hit us. We're getting terms 200 miles an hour out of Tyndall, Eglin. We're getting 155 sustained. Nobody has come out and said it. I'm saying this because I've just found out, and from Mr. Dozer I found out the same thing. This relies heavily on insurance. If it's over 155 miles an hour, sustained winds, deductibles and insurance disappears. I've been told that. I think this is important. I think it's important to the city to know what hit us in the face. Please do not.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Sir, you'll be next. I apologize. Somebody stepped up. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thank you for allowing me to be here again today. Again, I'm Demetria Clark with the Small Business Administration, and I just wanted to give you an update and a reminder about SBA's disaster recovery loan sizes for nonprofits, including faith-based organizations, homeowners and renters for personal property and real estate. The business loans we also have working capital loans. As of today, SBA has approved over $376 million in funds for the state of Florida, and $261 million of that is for Bay County. Also, we have lots of recovery centers open, but as far as I know, they'll be closed tomorrow. And
James Dean, 1103 Michigan Avenue. I'm basically seeking information, and particularly it's about ridge vents. My house was built in 1923, it's 95 years old. It never had a leak until this hurricane. About 3 years ago, I had a new roof put on and had ridge vents installed. At the same time, I had ridge vents installed in my one-story garage. The one-story garage received no damage whatsoever, no leakage either. The ridge vents behind my house, I have a small well pump house that I call the little house. About 10 years ago, I put in a new roof on it, and I put a double-deck roof on it that TVA recommended back in the 1970s during the fuel superior to the ridge vents. My question, the contractor that I'm talking with tells me there is no alternative to ridge vents. And at this point, I can't say anything good about them. And who can I see or go to and see what?
The drainage behind Roberts Hall, on the alleyway behind Roberts Hall and along 9th Street there. I was under the impression, and I may be mistaken, that when all the work was being done, the infrastructure was being laid in the alley there, that drainage was going to be a part of that. And we have no drainage there. And we're the lowest part of the town right there, the town built up around us. So I'm asking for drainage.
I think we're a work in progress right now all over the city. I know we're starting to resume some of that work, and so I'll let Mr. White address, where he is with that right now. But it is a known concern. It's just we're in a lot of different projects right now. So
Yes.
I will have to look at the plans for that particular area. I do know that we are going to pave that alleyway there. It's just a matter of us finishing up with some of the SRF funding for the water and sewer, and also taking loose the storm drains in some of those areas from the sewage lines, and trying to make that right there. And once we do that and get enough paving, we'll be coming in paved. But I'll check on that, and I'll contact you, or House will contact you.
Sure. Yeah, that was my main concern. Is
Yes,
I
ma'am.
know you're getting ready to pave there, and I just wanted to make sure the storm drainage was addressed.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
anyone else, sir, please?
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Simon. I have a small business on Mosley Drive. I do search and rescue dogs. I've been in it for about 12 or 15 years. And I'm basically here today because I wanted to thank everybody. With all the disasters that I've worked in towns that had more experience, and as you said, we went in 73 hours from a tropical storm to a Category 5. The amount of law enforcement that was present immediately afterwards just present a calmingness that I felt everybody was on point, everybody did their job, and I cannot tell you enough how grateful we are for the job that you did. My business was out for about a month. I came in one day, the business card on my door from Ben Genke, stating, guys, let me know if there's anything we can do to help you. I thought it was political rhetoric, and I called him, and he was down there within a week, helped me replay a door, and I gotta tell you, I cannot be thankful enough to our law enforcement, to first responders, to everybody. You guys did a fantastic job, and this wasn't worthy of an email. I had to come say to your face.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Very kind, sir.
and I hope you never need us again.
Thank you very much. Anyone else needed to speak today? Come on up, ma'am. Thank you for coming, so that was very kind of you.
I'm a mess because I was painting. You're fine. I'm Beasley. I've only lived here about a year and a half. And I live on Iowa Avenue, right at the end by 12th Street. So there is a lot next to my house that is actually on 12th Street and a large lot behind us, which are just wooded lots. So we've been, pulling out whatever just so it doesn't look like a big horrible mess. I don't know who owns it, but at some point our property owner is going to be notified because there is 3 very tall pine trees that are damaged. They're dead. And I'm a little concerned about those because I wouldn't want to go on somebody else's property and try to remove them or do anything, but they are just teetering in the wind.
Do you mind giving me your street address?
My address is 1115 Iowa Avenue. And also when they came through initially, immediately after the storm, that would be to the south of me, and we all know the wind was to the south. Everything blew out in the street. So they came by and cut it, obviously to open the road, but the stumps of the pine trees are right on the edge of the road, and that's also the bus stop. So it's very difficult now. We have to pull quite a ways out to see around that. And my husband keeps wanting to go down there and use his chainsaw, and again, I don't want him cutting on somebody else's property. So I was just wondering if at some point, maybe out-of-state people that own lots, are they gonna be notified that, not so much the mess, but the big trees that could actually fall on my house? Yeah.
Ms. Beasley, yes, it's this whole recovery process is several stages. There is a stage of trying to get the stumps out that you're talking about. As far as the trees and stuff, I have completed the paperwork to ask FEMA to give us the authority to go on to people's property so that they will help reimburse that cost.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
I'm waiting on
one
that. Yes, ma'am.
Bulldozed out because there is a lot of little trees that definitely held on and they're doing great. And even just to top it, like a 10-foot top, just so it wouldn't blow over.
And the issue that we have as a city, we're not allowed to go on property
And just bulldoze it out of there, because there is a lot that's still healthy. We've actually been propping them up, we pushed a little cedar tree up and staked it up, because it's not torn up. But those are just dangerous because they're 30 feet tall, So I was just wondering about that.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak or has a question today? Thank you so much for everyone who came and addressed the commission today. Item number 8 is a public hearing, and we'll be starting the public hearing at 2:37 p.m. Central Time. This is the final reading of ordinance number 1066, voluntary annexation into the city limits of Lynn Haven. This property on behalf of the property owners, James T. Mowat et al., co-trustee, and this will be item number 11 under old business.
This property is approximately 10.9 acres in size and is currently located in unincorporated Bay County on the west side of Aberdeen Loop. The property adjacent to this parcel on the north side is currently occupied by Jensen. This parcel is contiguous to the city of Lynnhaven on the north, south and east sides. The adjacent parcel on the west side is Bay County. Water and sewer services are available.
Mr. White, would you please read the ordinance? Thank you.
Ordinance number 1066, an ordinance annexing to the municipal limits of the city of Lynnhaven, Florida, certain contiguous compact unincorporated land located directly west of Aberdeen Loop in Bay County, Florida, for an approximate 10.9 acres of property, and is more particularly described herein pursuant to Florida statute section 171.044, amending the boundaries of the city to include said land, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and reciting an effective date.
Thank you. Are there any questions or items for discussion from the commission on this item? There appear to be none. Are there any questions from the public or concerns about this item? Okay, this public hearing will be closed at 2:38 p.m. Central Time. We'll move to item number 9. This public hearing begins at 2:38 Central Time. It's the first reading of Ordinance 1067. Ms. Richard, thank you.
This is the final reading of proposed future land use map amendment via the required expedited state review process. When a piece of property is annexed into the city, the state requires that we give it a city land use designation. The proposed amendment would amend the future land use map from Bay County residential to City of Lynnhaven industrial on this vacant property located on Aberdeen Loop. We've already said where the property is located. And so just to say that the parcels located to the east of this parcel have an industrial land use designation, which is what the land use is being requested. So they're requesting an industrial land use. The parcel to the west has Bay County residential, and the parcels to the south have City of Lynnhaven industrial and City of Lynnhaven low density residential land uses.
Thank you. Mr. White, if you would read for us, please, Ordinance 1067.
Ordinance number 1067, an ordinance of the City Commission for the City of Lynnhaven, Florida, amending the adopted comprehensive plan, providing for purpose and intent, providing for a title, amending the future land use map from Bay County residential to City of Lynnhaven industrial for a parcel of land, parcel number 11528-551-000, located on Aberdeen Loop, which is approximately 10.9 acres within the city, as more accurately described within the body of the ordinance, providing for severability, providing for a copy on file, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Is there any question or concern from the commission on this item? There appears to be none. Is there any question or concern from the public? There appears to be none. This public hearing will be closed at 2:40 Central Time. We move now to the consent agenda. Item number 10 is the approval of the minutes from 11/27/2018, our regular meeting. Is there a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any discussion of the minutes from the last meeting? Are there any concerns or discussion from the public on the minutes? Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Friend?
Yes.
Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes?
Aye.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes. So the minutes stand approved. And before we move to old business, I have not heard, did you hear back from Mrs. Tender yet? Okay, Commissioner Tender is not able to make it to today's meeting, so we do need a motion to excuse Mrs. Tender from the meeting. If I could have a motion, please.
So moved.
I've had a motion,
Second.
and there's been a second. Any discussion from the board?
Do we have a reason why she's not here today?
Mr. White?
Wasn't aware of the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. White, would you please call the roll? This is to excuse her from the meeting. It doesn't take away the fact that she was absent, by the way, just for the knowledge of the rest of the commission. It's just an excusal from the meeting. It's a formality. It still doesn't take away from the fact that the commissioner's not here.
Commissioner Friend?
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes? Aye. Commissioner Russell?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes. So it stands approved. And again, for clarification, our charter states that when a commissioner is absent from the meeting, that if a commissioner is absent for 3 meetings in a row, it doesn't even tell you why. Just as if you're absent for 3 meetings in a row, the commissioner can lose the seat. So it's a very serious thing to miss a meeting. But at the same time, if a commissioner is sick and calls in ahead, if a commissioner is participating by phone, there are different reasons. But just, for today, everybody voted approvals. That doesn't necessarily mean that everyone, Commissioner Russell, liked the fact, but everybody voted yes. So thank you very much. Moving on, that was just a little edification, sorry. Moving on to the next item, which would be the final reading of ordinance number 1066, voluntary annexation to the city limits of Lynn Haven. This property on behalf of the property owners James T. Mowat et al. Co-trustee. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
So there's a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? I'm sorry. Is there any further discussion from the public? Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Friend,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes. Aye. Mayor Anderson.
Yes. So it does stand approved. Item number 12 is referring to the public hearing from number 9, final reading of ordinance 1067, a proposed large-scale future land use map, Flume Amendment. Action is required. Is there a moval for approval?
So moved.
Second.
There's been a motion and a second. Any further discussion from the board? Any from the, did you have some? I think you're okay. Any from the public? Okay, Mr. White, would you please call the roll?
Commissioner Barnes. Aye. Commissioner Russell.
Yes.
Commissioner Friend.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes. And our final item today is one of great happiness for me, and I know for the rest of the commission as well. And with what came in this afternoon, we are now at $89,000 in our trust fund off the top of my head. So this is the discussion and action on the application for the residence grant from the Hurricane Relief Trust Fund and finalization of documents. What I have with me today are the documents it's what we approved on October the 18th, but these are basically the legal documents which will be filed by our law firm Holland & Knight in Jacksonville with the IRS, and then we will be an official trust. We have been official, but this is the official, and it has a place for each commissioner to sign on the last page. So before leaving today, if this is approved, the application, if all the commissioners could sign the last page, and we'll get someone to get Mrs. Tender to come in and sign. Mr. White, myself, attorney Mr. Moody, and several others with the city came up with several discussions, lots of thinking about it. A very simple application for residents for the disaster relief fund. We promised when we started this relief fund that every penny of it will be given directly to the residents of Lynn Haven to help them recover from this storm. There's been a great deal of talk because I haven't received the $40 million yet that I said that we were setting a goal for receiving, but Christmas Day has not arrived yet. But we have a large amount, and so I know that people get upset sometimes when public officials quote scriptures, but I kept hearing the thing about, the fish and the bread, and when Christ had the fish and the bread, and the disciples said, how are we going to feed everybody? And he said, just start feeding them and watch it multiply. So that's what we are looking at doing. And so we're going to, if this application today is approved by the commission, then we would immediately put it up online tonight, have these hard copies available at the service center tomorrow, and residents of the city of Lynn Haven and the Southport area can come in and fill these applications out. And there are very simple questions on the application. We are going to hope to award 75 families $1,000 each middle of next week. So that's going to be a very exciting time for this city, and 75 families with $1,000 check in their pocket before this holiday season. And the purpose of this is to help defray their deductible and insurance if they're not insured, to help that if they were denied by FEMA. There's no question on here that disqualifies anyone. It's just the questions that help us. And there will be a review board not made up of the commission, but this review will look at the applications, and our goal is to find the 75 families who are in most dire need in the city of Lynn Haven as we approach this. And there were questions about Southport and the unincorporated areas, because that is part of our trust. It does say to include but not limited to Southport and surrounding incorporated areas. Just wanted to point out that we're starting with our Lynn Haven residents. But as the money continues to come in, we hope to do several rounds of this and be able to move out and help a lot of people in this little area that has been affected. So God bless everybody that's given. And with that, is there a motion for action, or let's just have a motion for discussion and action. How about that?
So moved.
Second.
Been a motion and a second for discussion and action on this application. Is there any discussion from the board? Any questions or discussion from the public? Mrs. Walker?
Janet Walker, 1106 Michigan Avenue. First come, first serve.
It is not first come, first serve. What it is you come and get in line, you get a number on your application, and you can put it in online or at the door of City Hall, and the applications will be reviewed. And the biggest concern after you get past, there's several things you have to do. You have to say that you've applied for FEMA and prove that. You have to show your insurance deductible, what you've been paid on that. How many family members do you have? What is your median income? Things like that, so that it'll be very easy to see who the 75 families are who need it the most. The ultimate goal when we set this was to give a check to every single household in Lynn Haven, 8,000 households, because we know that every household's been affected. So as the money comes in, we'll continue to do more rounds. What we'd like to do is to leave a little money in the account so that the account is solvent for what we need. But out of what we're hoping to do next week is to bring the 75 applications back before the board. That's part of the charter. The board will approve those applications, and the next day we can write those checks.
Who initially, or what group of people initially review the forms?
The review committee is made up of 2 people. It's going to be the deputy city clerk, Mrs. Gaynor, because she's listed as the secretary on the back, and then Mr. White is going to assist her with that because he's not part of this board.
And the 2 of them will come up with some type of sequence of families?
There's not going to be a scoring system. It's just going to be looking at the applications to see, first of all, the application's completely filled out, that all the documentation is there. And then I'm not sure exactly how they'll do it because that's going to be up to them and they can tell us what they did. But we're asking them to look very carefully. For example, if your family income was $25,000 and you live alone, then your need would be different than if it were $25,000 and you have 4 dependent children. So that's the kind of things they're looking at, and they're going to be very careful in scrutinizing this. It's not, it's just going to be who needs it the most for the first round.
Okay. And I'm assuming an address is going to be on the form.
An address is on the form, and the form will be available to look at. I mean, you can look at it now if you'd like to. You're welcome to.
We'll actually have it up if it's approved. We'll have it on the website today.
Okay.
And then it'll be hard copy at City Hall tomorrow.
And then you're mentioning there may be attachments needed to it, and if the form is sent to you online.
Well, you have to bring it in
You have
person.
to bring it in.
Yes,
Okay,
because your
that's correct.
attachments are there.
Okay, thanks very much.
You're welcome. Yes, sir. Come on. Oh, you can ask it from back there.
Why not 1 or 2 citizens not on that application committee?
Why would not 1 or 2 citizens be on it? I don't think there's really any, there was not really any reason why they're not. I just don't think it was a suggestion that was made. It's something that could be. I have great trust in the people who are the 2 people. We wanted to keep it as small as possible so that it can go as quickly as possible. And also there's a privacy involved because you're looking at things like people's income and that kind of thing. And so we just didn't want anybody to be able to look at that information. But does that? I'm satisfied, with the people who are looking at it, that they're going to pick out those people who need it the most. So if anybody thinks that's not a good process, this is your time to speak for sure. In the back, yes, ma'am.
The trust that you're talking about. I work for a company out of Connecticut.
Would you come up to the microphone, then, please? I'm sorry, it's just a matter of public record. Okay, I'm sorry.
I work for a large finance company out of Connecticut, and of course I'm the only one affected in Florida because I'm the only employee here. And they've been asking me over and over and over, like, who would we donate? What could we donate to? So if they were to donate to this trust fund, what is the information on that? Like,
The information is online on the city website, but I can
Okay.
tell you it's the Lynn Haven Hurricane Relief Fund. It's a
Okay.
501c3, which means it's 100% tax deductible. And what makes us unique is that we have committed during this hurricane relief time, every dollar that comes in is going directly to the people
To the citizens. Okay.
in a check. And I don't think you can find any charitable organization right now that's doing that.
Right, so I can find that information, and it's a PayPal, what is it, like a?
You can do PayPal, Venmo, whatever you like.
Okay, okay.
Thank you so much. Good luck.
Sure. They have money.
Anyone else? Okay, Mr. White, I guess it's time for the question.
Commissioner Russell,
Yes.
Commissioner Friend,
Yes.
Commissioner Barnes. Aye. Mayor Anderson.
Yes, and Merry Christmas to the first 75 families who will receive $1,000 from the Hurricane Relief Fund, and we hope there's a lot more coming very quickly. Item number 15 is adjournment. Merry Christmas, everybody. See you next Tuesday, same place, same time.